Okay, we have other things to talk about here. This is kind of an interesting story. It's right up our alley, in fact. The numbers are staggering. The conditions less than ideal. The future uncertain. Yeah, that's all us. Time, technology, and changing tastes have derailed a once profitable, unique business that at its peak sold thousands of vintage telephones to buyers from around the world and produced revenues of nearly $1 million a year. Only now, Ron and Mary Knappen are trying to determine what to do with their vast inventory of telephones, which apparently draws very little interest these days. They are 87 and 82, respectively. They possess a collection that over the past 52 years has clearly gotten out of hand. I'm looking at pictures. My God, they have a basement filled with old telephones. Yeah, it's they have multiple rooms. They have sheds filled with rotary dial phones. It's a mile away on a separate property. The Knappens have filled a former chicken barn with telephones. They have an 80-foot long, 60-foot wide steel shed, half of which is filled with phones, the other half with 12 cars and trucks. The Knappens are also in the process of trying to empty a 41,000 square foot building in downtown Galesville, which I believe is Wisconsin. Located below the dam along Little Tamarack Creek, the former dairy manufacturing facility has been owned by the Knappens since 1988. They are selling the building and need to be out by July. It's unclear if they have enough space in their other facilities to hold a collection from the Galesville building that houses thousands of more phones, including scores that are part of a multi-room museum. Ron Knappen says at first it looked like it was going to be easy, but as the months go by and the older you get, the harder and harder it gets. Amen, Ron. It was a very wonderful building to operate in, but we're unable to have the resources now financially to operate out of that building. In addition to the phones, some of which are priced at more than $350, there are boxes of handsets, cords, plugs, bells, and wire. They have the 1977 Yellow Pages from Chicago, in case you need that. What's lacking? Customers and a succession plan. There are a few orders, and the couple's 3 children have absolutely no interest in the business. Right now, the order situation is pretty stagnant, says Ron. The sales are so pitiful. It's in a very sad point of decline. Ron began reading Popular Mechanics while in high school in Illinois, and in the back of the magazine were ads for a company that sold old phones. After serving the U.S. Navy during the Korean War, Ron used a GI Bill in 1957 to attend UW Stout, where he studied education, drove a Model A coupe, and became an industrial arts instructor. He and Mary married in 1960 after they met at a dance and spent 4 years teaching in Amboy, Illinois, 1 year in Mineral Point, and 7 years in Melrose. Didn't really need to know all that, but fact is, these guys have so many phones. We have so many listeners who are into phones. We are so into phones as well. We should be able to help these folks out, don't you think?
Yes.
Anyone?
I would love to see this put into an office or a hotel, or just put these things to use. There's so many, and that thing of having an interest in an antique phone. Somehow, if you show that, people will start realizing, and you accumulate them. They just start sticking to you as a sort of gravity, just by that small little bit of interest. So that it grew to this extent is amazing. And these things, when they go away, if it doesn't go to a museum or it doesn't get put into a workable business model, it then becomes harder and harder to restore phones for the people that are interested in maintaining collections. So.
And they actually work, too. You can use them. We use them every day.
Yeah, we should have more kits for ATAs and making them work with digital systems, but absolutely, they do work if you have a small telephone network within your facility or in your neighborhood, or just hooked up to whatever service you have through your cable modem.
Yeah, but you just plug it in. If you have a landline, and we use it all the time, and phone rings, we pick it up, and before we even get into whatever the phone call is about, the person comments how nice we sound, how the audio quality is simply amazing.
Or they guess what model phone. Oh, you're on the 302. Okay, no, I knew that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alex.
I could think of something to do with these phones because, I heard that in 2024, in New York, there's going to be a hacker conference in the summer. It's something called Hope.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if you're,
Hope XV is coming. We're gonna make more official announcements later in the month. But yes, I believe it's July 12th through 14th. So mark down the date. It's in the latest issue of 2600. But we're in the midst of planning that, and that might be a very good opportunity to display some of these.
well, it would be. It would be not only to display, but also to sell. I guarantee you that every single phone that they would bring to Hope would probably be sold. I don't think they would leave with it. If they want to give things away, I'm sure people would be very happy to take certain phones away. But I bet it'd be a great place to sell a whole bunch of vintage phones.
Well, keep in mind, Ron is 87. He'll probably be 88 by then. I'm not sure he's into traveling to the Big Apple, but maybe, we'll put him up. Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, I was looking at this article from Madison.com that a listener was kind enough to send us. Unfortunately, it's behind a paywall now, but you can see it on Internet Archive. And just these pictures, these aerial shots of these trailers, these dozens of trailers and containers full of phones, and the phones in them. It's amazing, and it would truly be a crime if this stuff ended up getting thrown away at some point just because nobody's interested in them. There are so many actual uses for them. This fellow's company does supply them to Hollywood productions and things that take place in the past. You need old phones to decorate, but also just the sheer fact of these as a chunk of history. We've only got a few old phones around this tiny New York apartment and don't have room for any more. And man, do I wish I could just buy a couple of things off of this fella.
I mean, we are probably going to be not incredibly far from there in a few months.
We do have family in Wisconsin.
We do have family in Wisconsin. But I'm also curious if some of the places that he's taught might be interested in them. The Center for Cybersecurity and Cyber Defense at the University of Wisconsin at Stout. Guys, are you listening? You have this treasure trove 90 minutes away from you. Lots of I want to go now to this town in Wisconsin.
Well, you can. If next time you're in Wisconsin, drop on by. Say hi to Ron.
Yeah, check it out and take some pictures.
He can be a guest on our show, in fact.
I'm saying I want to go now.
Oh, okay. We can just fire up the car and head over there.
Let's do it. But wouldn't it be cool if we got them on the show?
Yeah, let's get them on the show.
It would be an interesting conversation, and I think really to find out
the stories they could tell.
Yeah, what it's been like, but also what he needs and what would be ideal. Because then you could build kind of a team of interested people that could help organize or sort through things, look at what could be, valuable or should be a part of a production company, or just try to go through and catalog, and just even knowing what you have in a collection of that size would like having an index of it is probably very hard, and getting a sense of what it all is part of that conversation. So I think ideally you got to talk to him and then find out what kind of organizing and phases of it would take to actually move it to a safer place and other futures.
You could call them right now. The store's open.
If we talk to them on the air, we could guess what phone they're using. He could switch. I'll bet we'd have lots of fun going from one phone to another and figuring out which one he's using at the moment.
Yeah, how does he
They have a
answer?
book.
Can you imagine a phone ringing and he's like, "Which one?" Like running around.
Wow, it sounds like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
But Galesville, Wisconsin. So if anybody's near there, there's a lot of phones in the area that you should be interested in, and they will last forever.